Animation is something that has had a very turbulent history on YouTube. In the early days of YouTube, it was just a platform where anybody could just upload their stick figure animations. But ever since then, we've gone from stick figure animations to people making their own fully animated pilots. But around 2016 to 2019, there was a genre of animations that completely dominated the platform. They were sort of known as the reigning kings of their field, the gods of YouTube, which was something that they were always really quick to deny. I'm talking about Storytime animators. You know who I'm talking about. The Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animations, Something Else YT, Alex Clark, Let Me Explain Studios, Tim Tom, Tabs. These are Storytime animators. These people were undeniably very influential. From making videos about their silly little books that they wrote in elementary school, to making whole Netflix shows, you really couldn't underestimate how popular some of these creators were at the time. Yet, in recent memory, it doesn't feel like anybody even knows who these people are. These people, despite being very influential and large creators, very rarely come up in conversations now, unless it's to talk about controversy. But why? Why did everybody just sort of forget who these people were? Well, I think it's because of a multitude of reasons. This video will go over my personal beliefs and reasons as to why I think Storytime animators sort of fell off, for lack of a better term. So, without further ado, let's get started. Reason number 1, oversaturation of the market. Storytime animations technically still do exist in some way, just not in the way that we're probably the most familiar with. It didn't necessarily die out as a genre, it just sort of evolved for the worse. Nowadays, Storytime animations mostly exist on YouTube Shorts in quick digestible intervals which you forget about the moment you scroll away. Long-form videos still do exist, but instead of having your character talk about a childhood memory, your character is instead talking about how they did drugs in high school. This is sort of a subgenre of Storytime animations which people affectionately refer to as smoking stickmen. These videos typically feature a poorly drawn stickman talking about the creator's experience of getting high during high school. But there isn't really a lesson that is learned at the end, like don't do drugs or wait until you're 18. It's normally just, I did drugs in high school and that's it. It isn't always a poorly drawn stick figure though. Lotta Luck, for example, uses these beautifully computer-generated stop-motion figures to describe these stories, but the content is still pretty much the same. Talking about drugs and doing drugs is all this genre is. With everyone practically telling the same story over and over again, you can just imagine why nobody really wants to watch Storytime animations anymore, as well as the amount of faceless Storytime animation YouTubers whose videos are just borderline fetishistic in nature, and also not true. Story Booth may have been the first ones to do it, but at least their videos were true and also had a lesson to go along with the videos. Here, there is no lesson to be learned here, and it's just pure drugs and fetishes. The people crave authenticity, but it's really hard to find authenticity when a character doing drugs is what sells well. Wait, don't look at that! Reason number 2, lack of relatability. Call it cringe if you must, but I think that one of the main appealing factors about Storytime animators was the relatability factor. Just these down-to-earth, relatable stories that almost anybody could tell. It gave personality to the channel. It gave a face behind the mascot. But I feel as if that relatability factor has sort of been forgotten about. For example, The Odd Ones Out doesn't even animate his own stories anymore. He has a whole team of people that does the animation for him. As you become sort of a bigger internet celebrity on this platform, you're inevitably going to lose what people originally subscribed to you for. I guarantee there are probably way more people who relate to working a 9-to-5 food service job than being in a Mr. Beast contest video. There are probably more people who relate to learning how to play an instrument than attempting a Pokemon Nuzlocke. I can at least respect Jaden Animations a little bit more because she is the one that still does the animating herself. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that these Storytime animators are running out of stories to tell. I mean, like, come on, let's admit it, man. You know you've run out of stories to tell when you have to make my opinion on cleaning. What the fuck? That's not to say Storytime animations can't be relatable. They 100% still can be relatable. Something Else YT and Let Me Explain Studios are still making entertaining Storytime videos. Their videos are still very down to earth, as well as being entertaining and relatable. Relatability matters. The audience wants somebody that they can relate to and see themselves in. That's sort of a big reason why a lot of us choose our favorite characters in fiction, but it also shows that you're human. You're just trying to get by just like everybody else in this world. So when you lack relatability, you lack somebody that the audience can relate to. Reason number 3. We all just grew up. I know it hurts to say, but I think one of the main reasons why Storytime animations aren't as appealing anymore is because they represent a bygone era. Like it or not, these animation channels were in their heyday back in 2017, and a lot of them have either moved on to doing other things or are just done, moving on with their lives. It was a chapter of our lives that is now over. And also, as we grow up, we tend to like different things and laugh at different stuff, and rewatching some of these videos, they're just painfully unfunny. They were funny when I was a kid, but rewatching them now, yeah, they're charming, but they're just not funny anymore. But that's just how it is. People grow up, people change, and people will continue to change. And in conclusion, stay in drugs, don't go to school. Wait, I mean...
My name is Walter Hartwell White, and this is the story of how I broke bad.